Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chudisa Bros. This is Joseph, back at it again with another book review for you. So we're doing something a little bit different today, actually a lot of bit different. Most of the time what we've been doing is our long form discussions on book adaptations, movies, and kind of basic reviews, right? That is not what we're doing today because I am bringing you one of my favorite books, and I just discovered this. This has got to be the most fun I've had in a very long time. But as you read in the title, this might be the dumbest book I've ever read also. Let's get into it, guys. This is The Bad Place by Dean Koontz. Okay, now I do not know how I came upon this. I might have been looking for interesting books that were kind of trying to get that X-Files vibe. I was kind of in that arena for a second, and I wanted to continue that feeling, right? So I think this is where I picked up this book, among others, and I was like, okay, here's an author I normally do not read. He gets criticized a ton for being a bit of a hack. Now, that's neither here nor there. I think that some people are just going to get knocked for being popular, and I think that there's definitely a case to be made for that right here. But the thing is, this book is perfectly adequate. There's nothing wrong with it in terms of the plot or the pacing or some of the details that come up and then get wrapped up at the end. All of that is going to make sense, and it is fine as just a fun, suspenseful novel. Now, when I say it's the dumbest book that I've ever read, it is more so not that the book doesn't work in terms of the storytelling, it's more so the choices that Mr. Koontz made that make this book what it is. It is the specific decisions and the specific details that are in here that really go off the wall. And if you're here for it, I'm here for it. Let's have a good time, because this really reminded me of Clive Barker's The Great and Secret Show in terms of he's not afraid to get weird. Now, I definitely got the same vibes as that. This isn't as well written as I would consider The Great and Secret Show to be, but in terms of entertainment value, this is a 5 out of 5. So this is trigger warnings, and it's going to get weird, and this is just going to be me. I'm just going to be myself in this. I am sorry if I offend anybody. I am not looking to do that. I am really just going to tell you what I read here, and my mouth was agape the entire time. I was just telling my coworkers about it. I was like, yo, this book I'm reading is crazy. And then I would tell them what's going on. They'd be like, what the fuck? And then a few days later, I'd be like, so this is what happened, what's happening in the book. And they'd be like, what in the hell is going on here? So that's kind of where the entertainment value is for me. Just, it's not that it's written bad. I'm just going to say that again. It is that it is just really bizarre, and I couldn't believe what I was reading. Now, this isn't going to be a traditional book review, obviously, as you can tell. It's going to be more so, I kind of am just going to lean into spoilers, and I'm just going to kind of list things about this book. I'll give you a basic plot thing here, and then I'm just going to talk about, I'm just going to list, like, some of the stranger things that happen in here, and tell you why it fucking was crazy for me, right? So let's get into it here, guys. I have my laptop here, because I had to take notes as I was going, because I was like, this is just it's fucking insanity. Let's do it. Okay, so just a reminder, at the time of doing this video, Dean Koontz is like 80 years old. So that might give you a little bit of context here in terms of what like the writing style was at that point. This reminds me of some of the, Booger Sugar Stephen King era.
Oh my God, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz.
Keep that in mind as we move forward. This book came out in 1990. It sure as hell doesn't feel that way, because 1990 for me feels pretty modern in terms of like, I expect to read things like this, and then you find out, oh, well, it's written in like the mid 60s or whatever. So that's why some of this stuff is just really out there. But then there's like, there's computers and stuff. So I'm like, okay, that really doesn't make sense. Looked it up. It's 1990. So, okay, let's just get into it. Again, some of this isn't going to be in any particular order. It's just going to be me kind of telling you what's going on here. So, all right, so how it starts off, we got one of our main characters, Frank Pollard. Now, he's an amnesiac. He wakes up in a strange place, doesn't know where he is, Through the course of him kind of trying to put things together, he goes through his wallet, he goes through his clothes, and he finds that he's got multiple IDs with different names. Remember, he's an amnesiac. He doesn't even know what he looks like, so he doesn't even know if the pictures he's seeing on these IDs are him or not. Crazy. Okay. Then he gets this feeling that he's trying to escape from somebody. Something's following him. Something or someone is following him. He's got to get out of there. So in his panic, he tries to get a car, steal it. I think he hotwires, or he does something, or he like jimmies the door open. He does something that he goes, okay, so I'm the type of person that knows how to like steal cars. Weird. He's on the run. He's got blood on his hands. Okay, wait a minute. So something's chasing him. Did he just hurt somebody? Is he a secret serial killer and doesn't know? He's got nothing in here that can like help him out with this, right? So that's where we are. We get this weird warbling, whistling noise, this blue light, and there's something coming out of it that's coming after him. He's got to get the fuck out of there. Cool. That's our introduction to Frank Pollard. Now, we jump over to Dakota and Dakota Detective Agency. It is Bobby and Julie. It's a husband and wife team that are a private detective agency, right? Now, when we're introduced to them, they have been contracted to figure out what's going on with somebody that's working at this software company that's possibly stealing money and secrets, or just something that could fuck the company over and make him very rich. Whatever that is. Remember, this is 1990. Computers are way different back then, so keep that in mind. So, in the midst of them surveying this gentleman who may be stealing from this company, Bobby, the gentleman of the couple, is in a van parked outside of this place. He's been there. It's a nondescript van. It's where he's hiding out as they're watching. He's on the radio with his wife. They're kind of talking. And these people are fucking nerds. Let me go ahead and say that off the bat. I thought these people... I followed them because I wanted to know what was going on. I want to root for them because they're the good guys. But my God, I wanted to smack the crap out of them every time I heard them flirting with each other and just the things they would talk about. We'll get to it. So basically, the guy that they're surveying is onto them. And he has hired some like mercenary like thugs or whatever. And they come at Bobby with Uzis, and they're just outside the van, just spraying the van. He's on his stomach. He's hiding from the bullets. And basically they get out of it, and they get the guy, and this is our introduction to them, right? So we see that they're capable, they're smart, they're not afraid of getting into danger. It's not that big of a deal. Now, all of this, we find out they are, it's all culminating to the dream. It's their retirement plan. They want to take on some big money cases and eventually buy a little place where they can listen to their very old, like, Glenn Miller records, which, again, this is 1990s, so how out of fashion would that have been in the 80s? And then it's 1990, and you're like, why are they listening to Glenn Miller? I don't know. And it's all, like, old, like, jazzy, like, drummers and shit like that, and they're just like, oh, can we afford a nice record player? There's, like, a specific brand that they like, whatever. So these are nerds. And the way they flirt with each other is for lack of a better term, cringe, okay? So you're going to see that and be like, what are they doing? Okay, cool. Here's our badass detective agents. Cool. Here's our guy, Frank. He's got some kind of mystery behind him. This is the introduction to the story. That's where we're at. Eventually, Frank finds them, and he's like, can you guys figure out what's going on with me? I'm waking up. I don't know what's going on. I have a lot of money. There's another thing he's got with him, and you're like, okay, this is getting weirder. He wakes up with this, like, black sand and random, like, red gems. I think they're uncut. I think they're just, like, in the sand that he has, and he's waking up. He's going, okay, I got money. I got multiple IDs. What the fuck am I doing? When I go to sleep or when I pass out or whatever, I wake up, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So he gets with the Dakotas, and he's like, y'all watch me, help me figure this out. Here's what's going on. It sounds crazy. The couple go back and forth as to whether or not they should even take the case. The couple go back and forth as to whether or not they should even take the case. So eventually they do, because where would the story be if they didn't do that, right? Now, I'm going to go in some territory here. Again, disclaimer, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. It was just really random, and I thought, wow, that's a hell of a choice. Now, we have another main character. We actually jumped through a ton of characters' point of views here. So our next one is Thomas. Now, Thomas is the younger brother of Julie. Now, Thomas has Down syndrome. Now, it isn't played for laughs. There's nothing funny about this approach, but I just thought, again, some of the choices were a little bit wild. And again, this is 1990, so they're not really walking on eggshells here when they talk about this stuff. He's in a home because Julie and Bobby cannot take care of them all the time. So he's in this place that has other people that have mental disabilities, right? He has a roommate named Derek who Thomas comments, yeah, he's dumber even than me. So, okay. There's some uncomfortable stuff with like Thomas looking in the mirror and seeing his face and like not liking the look that he sees because it reminds him that he's incapable of, being normal, in his way. So that's kind of crazy. It's fine. We can have a character that's got something, but Thomas is psychic. Okay. Okay. Here we are. Thomas is psychic. The Down syndrome, the younger brother, is psychic. And he's sensing that there's danger, the bad place, the bad thing, the bad man. There is somebody chasing Frank. And we're gonna go into that in a second. So basically, that's kind of like our setup. Then we jump over and we find out, okay, who is chasing Frank and what's going on there? Well, we have a Down syndrome kid that's psychic. We have our villain, who they call Candy. Now, Candy is trying to kill Frank. Frank is his brother. So Candy is the brother of the guy that's trying to escape. And Candy's got some abilities as well. So we find out both of the brothers can teleport. One can do it by consciously doing it. That's Candy, our bad guy. Our bad guy can choose where he goes, zips in and out. He's got the ability also to touch things and psychically remember or get pieces of details of who touched the same thing. So if I touch a water glass or whatever, and someone had just drank from it, I can see who was touching it and kind of get some information about them, where they were, what they were thinking and feeling at the time. Some crazy psychic powers, okay? So Candy is very capable. There's a lot. He's very powerful. He's physically big. He can fight. He's a terrifying villain for this, and it gets a little bit crazier. So we get a little bit of Candy's perspective. Now he wants to kill Frank because Frank zips in and out. He does it subconsciously. He can't help it. He'll fall asleep or he'll lose consciousness and then he'll zip and zap into different places and doesn't know that he can do it because he keeps forgetting and can't control it. Basically, it's kind of happening not at his will, right? So there we are. It's gonna get weirder. So we find out through the perspective of Candy, our bad guy or villain, that he drinks blood, but he's not a vampire, right? So there's a few maybe a chapter where we see where he lives. He lives with his sisters, and their mother who's dead. We'll get to that. And he's going out into the yard, going out into the forest area, and he's eating small animals to drink their blood. So he's he killed a rabbit and then drinks its blood, and it's it's just absurd. And then you find that he not only does this with animals because he's got this bloodlust, he does it to people. So Candy isn't just chasing Frank and trying to kill Frank. He kills people regularly and really enjoys killing his victims to have a lot of vitality. He needs them to be strong individuals because he feels more powerful when he drinks from them. Yikes. Okay. So he lives with his sisters. And again, I'm just telling you what's happening. I'm not trying to say it like it's funny. It's just weird. I don't know why it was handled this way. Again, Dean Koontz is 80 years old right now, so just remember he's an old ass guy. So Frank and Candy's sisters are like weird, crazy cat ladies. That's fine. But it goes one step further. They have abilities as well. Now, the sisters, Violet and Verbena, whatever if I'm saying that wrong. So they lounge around the house all day because what they do at night is they can they put their minds into animals. Both of the sisters do this. And they also do it with the cats. So they have a bunch of cats that will sleep near them, and they'll kind of just lounge around all day. And then at night, they get into the minds of the different animals, and they'll switch. So they'll be like, okay, I'm gonna be in the body of an owl, and it swoops around, it kind of follows, and then it'll switch to the rabbit that's being hunted, and then it'll run away with the adrenaline. So they can feel the adrenaline of the rabbit, and they can feel the fear, and they can feel the experience because they don't like their own senses. Cool, interesting, but that's kind of all they're there for. They're really just another example of this very unique family. So, there's a really random. Again, this is going to be a list. Just bear with me. There's a part in here that it had me crack the fuck up because it straight up is one of the girls is yeah, growing up I had this weird issue with sensory stuff, and she goes, well, I'm basically autistic, but I chose to not be anymore. That's not how that works. So one of the reasons they do this jumping in and out of animals is because they use it so they can feel things. It's the choosing autism thing that got me on that. Really weird. That's a straight up line out of here. Frank is zipping in and out, and then of course the Dakotas see this. They're hanging out with him. They have one of their somebody that's employed by them hang out with them, and he's in a hospital bed, and he zips out, disappears. So somebody witnesses it. It isn't just something that's happening when he's at his apartment, and then he's wakes up somewhere else, doesn't know, he's in a parking lot somewhere. What the fuck's going on, right? Somebody witnesses it. And when he zips out, he's holding the handrail of the bed, the hospital bed, and part of it goes with him. And so he's left here looking, the employee is left here looking, and there's a piece of the bed missing. And then eventually he comes back, and he doesn't have the thing. And they notice that when he does this, they look at his shirt, and he's got a bit of the khaki pants he was wearing melded into the shirt, so the patterns and the fabric don't really match. And then he looks and eventually sees a zipper in the shoe, and there's the rivets on the shoe or on parts of his jeans. So I'm saying this as it keeps happening because it happens throughout the story where he'll zip in and out and you don't know what the hell's going on. So he's disassembling his atoms and then putting them back together, and it's messing up. And then they're suspecting, okay, if he's doing this, if he's putting himself back together, the clothes are coming back kind of warped and weird, and the patterns are off, and they're kind of coming together not correctly, is his body getting messed up. And then this thing we're seeing is taking a lot out of him. It may be killing him. So every time it happens, he's coming back all scrambled. He can't think straight. This is just a bad situation, on top of being chased by Candy. Okay, so that happened. One of his returns back from jumping around, zipping around, and teleporting, he wakes up with more of that black sand, some of the gems, and a fucking random ass insect on his chest that doesn't make any sense. It's this weird, half crab, arachnid insect thing that doesn't look like any insect anybody's seen before. So nobody in the detective agency has seen this. Frank himself hasn't seen it. He wakes up with this thing on his chest. So that's part of the investigation here. They go and they check the gems out. They go and they check the insect out, and they try to get a look on what the sand is. So all this is happening. Weird. So he's going to this place and bringing back animals. Fucking strange, right? Now there's a part where he zips out with like a roach like crawling on him or something, and then he takes the roach with him, and then Bobby, the detective, is like, okay, well, if you're doing that with your clothes, are you somehow gonna fuck up and like you're gonna be melded with the roach also? Crazy. So they investigate the gems and the insect, and they seek help out. They're looking for people like an entomologist they talk to, and they talk to somebody who's like a professional, like an expert on gems, and they find out these things are red diamonds. They might be worth millions. Okay, so we got Frank jumping around, has multiple IDs, zipping in and out, and he's getting gems that could be worth millions of dollars, and he's got an insect from someplace, and when they talk to the entomologist, he's like, this like doesn't even exist. This might be, after doing some research on it and like looking at it, it seems to be genetically coded to mine. So something made this, and it doesn't make any sense. It's beyond even the capabilities of the geneticist that's in this story. He's like, this is beyond any of our technology. Okay. so some future human beings or aliens are made these things to mine, and when they do a little bit more examination of this carcass of this insect, this thing is actually excreting the diamonds. Its poo is red diamonds that are worth millions. Okay. So he's zipping into this alien land. Right. Got it. I'm on board. This is getting weirder and weirder, right? So eventually there's a part where we've seen that Frank can like zip in and out, and he can take stuff with him. He's holding on to Bobby at one point, and he zips him with him. So then he can, one of our POV characters can now see what's going on. He's zipping around. He's, oh my God, you're going to these different places. And he goes to this fucking alien world. There's a chapter where he goes to this alien world, and these things are everywhere. And he's like, okay, well, they're like machines almost. They're like biological machines. These insects that are mining around. And he's like, well, what created these things? Because that geneticist said their genetic code is like binary. Like, this is made. These were made. And he looks up, and there's this like UFO. That's a bunch of spikes coming off of it. It's like this shiny black like craft with like random spikes out of it, and you're like, what in the hell is going on here? He's got the twins that can like live in cats minds, and they can like chase. They do a cat and mouse thing with like owls and rabbits and mice, and you've got a guy here who can a family, these two brothers that can like teleport, and all of this is happening in one story. And you got a Down syndrome kid that can psychically send messages to Bobby to save Julie because he's scared. He can tell, hey, there's another psychic being out here. He's referring to Candy. And he's learning more and more things about, okay, maybe there is somebody chasing me now. I'm not just chasing Frank. Somebody's on Frank's side, and they're chasing me now. They're trying to figure out what's going on with me. So Thomas knows that. So the only person that knows what the fuck's going on in this story is a Down syndrome kid that like makes picture poems. That's a thing. All right, let's keep going. All right. So there's a weird line, and this is just a weird thing that stuck out for me. It doesn't have anything to do with like the plot or what's going on with the story. It was just why, right? It's fine, but why? There's a whole ass conversation that Bobby and Julie have about like they're going through this adventure, and like there's one point of like the energy's low, it's nothing's crazy happening right now, so they're just conversing, and Bobby's like, you know what, I realized I have like a weird obsession with Asian Americans, and Julie's like, yeah, like everybody knows that about you. It's kind of like the vibe of this conversation. He's like, yeah, I realized everybody I hired for Dakota are Asian American. He's like, I've got a Vietnamese guy, I've got a Korean guy. And you're like, Where is this coming from? Fine. Okay. So, moving on. So throughout their investigation, so we're getting close to the end of the novel here. There's a lot of near misses. This cat and mouse thing again is going on. And eventually the stakes are raised. And when Candy finds out what's going on, he starts going, well, I'm going to fuck with you guys then. And then he starts taking revenge out. He kills Thomas. He kills Clint, is one of the guys that works for Dakota and Dakota, who's got a deaf girlfriend, which is cool. Again, not a problem here, but it was just a weird kind of random detail to be in there. Whatever. I'm actually all for that because I think it's interesting to have a character that's going to end up being a victim have that like extra layer of fear where it's like they can't hear that he's in the house. So kudos. That was cool. I actually wanted a little bit more of Clinton, his girlfriend. I'm forgetting her name here, but the deaf girl. I kind of wanted to see more of them, and this book's not that long, so they could have done it, and I would have kept wanting to know what was going on. That's pretty cool. So eventually, the Dakotas find out who Frank is, because again, he doesn't really remember anything. So through the investigation, of course, they end up going, all right, well, we got some leads. We can find out a little bit about what's happening here. They come across a Dr. Fogarty. Now, I couldn't help but think of Creedence Clearwater Revival when I heard that name, but Doc Fogarty has this kind of cool, they mentioned that he like has a Santa Claus like look if Santa Claus were like thin.
It's going to be cool, sleek Santa.
Okay. But he's an asshole. So they're like, they come upon him and they're like, hey, Doc, you apparently, this family are your patients. What's going on with this family? It's going to get bad here. It's going to get weird. Again, disclaimer, sorry, I'm just telling you what's happening. So the mother of all of them is this character called Roselle. Roselle is the product of incest. A brother and sister. The sister was taken advantage of by the brother, and she had Roselle, who is the mother of the Pollards. So Candy, Frank, Verbena, and Violet. So Roselle had some interesting things going on with her as well, right? We find out that through Doc Fogarty that she was born a hermaphrodite. Okay, fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's weird, but it's okay. Let's keep going. And when she was old enough, she impregnated herself. And that's how she made Frank, Candy, Violet, and Verbena. She did this continuously. So she is her own father, mother. They are the product of, I don't know, incest, like, again. I don't know how that works. Pretty crazy. So they figure out that Roselle's father/uncle was like heavily into psychedelics, and it damaged his genes or something. It doesn't make any sense, but just roll with it, okay? And when they're investigating this, I forgot to mention, there's a lot going on here, that Frank's body is there. For a while there, they lost him. They couldn't figure out where he was. He's kind of out of the story for a while they're figuring out the Candy situation. So Frank zapped himself into Doc Fogarty's place, and he's all screwed up because of all the teleportations. It's been like not good for him, right? So as they're like talking about what's going on with Roselle and her incestuous family, he's a fucking asshole throughout the whole conversation. He's a dickhead. And they really lean to his alcoholism, which is kind of random. It would have been okay to like hear that he was drinking when they like arrived, but they make the point to be like, he keeps a bottle of Wild Turkey 101 in his desk, but he also has a ton in a cabinet nearby, and they think that he puts it in his desk so he can drink and not even get up. That's like what a lush he is, I guess. But like, this is a character we meet like at the very end. Like, it's like the second to last chapter. We find out what's going on with the family, and we're like, okay, holy shit. here's a character, and it's like, well, we got to mention that he drinks way too fucking much for some reason. It like doesn't matter, except we're supposed to just think he's unlikable, I guess. Really weird. This ends with like body horror thing where him and hang on, before we get to that, let me mention that Fogarty says that one of the reasons Candy is who he is because he has double the testes but no like shaft. So he's dickless, and his balls are on the inside of his body, and he's got double the amount. Hence, the aggression and sexual frustration. Because throughout the novel, we've seen that Candy has this weird issue. Like, he'll have something happen, and like part of his aggression is that he'll like think that sex is dirty, and then when a sexual aspect of his victims comes up, it makes him feel really dirty, and like it makes him more pissed off and want to attack them more and drink their blood and whatever. And remember, he's got this weird like psychic power. So again, there's no really rhyme or reason to this. There's a part where he's touching things to try to figure out what's going on with the Dakotas, and he's in a place that they hang out, or like at their house, I think. And he like touches a box of Kleenex, and he just like he grosses himself out because it makes him think about Bobby Dakota like So this is a character that's got too much testosterone in his body, and he can't fuck, and he fucking drinks blood, and he teleports, and what I just don't even know anymore. I had to finish this because what the actual hell? So it ends with Frank and Candy like teleporting at the same time, and because Frank is losing control of this stuff and things are becoming more and more warped, they do it, and their powers are like kind of fighting against each other as it's happening. And then we see this body horror of both of their bodies like melded together. It's like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. And it's great. Wow. What an adventure. I had so much fun. Now, I just came off of watching I really fucking hated Lady in the Water. And then I read, I did a video on Silence. It was a book that Martin Scorsese made a movie about. I did a whole video on it, and my, I guess, allergies were making me sound real bad. I didn't look like I felt good in the video, so I didn't post it. So that was a really like serious like novel that made me feel like shit in a good way. Silence is a great novel, but I hated Lady in the Water. So I've been like reading these things and watching these things that like either sucked or just made me feel bad. So this comes in, and Dean Koontz just like fucking Superman punched me with this shit, dude. I was telling everybody about it. I still like can't stop thinking about how fucking random it is. I was like, is this what like most of his books are like? Or is this like, are there books like this that I just have to find that aren't going to be notable for their skill or anything, and they're just like out there in the weird horror paperback realm, that there's stuff like this all the time, all over the place, and I just haven't found them? Because if there's more stuff like this that has this like, it doesn't play it for laughs, guys. That's what I'm trying to get across. Like, I was laughing. I was having a grand old time reading this. It was the most fun I've had in a long time, because of just how absurd. It's just absurd and bizarre, right? But he's not writing it like it's funny. He's writing it like it's straight. He's writing it straight. And that's like what got me, was he's not playing. It's just, here's the fucking story. And I really appreciate that. So again, I guess I got to fucking read some more Dean Koontz shit and see if it's as wild as this, or is this like Great and Secret Show, where like Clive Barker's stuff just went there and it was kind of a one-off. There's not like his other novels didn't really do it like that, you know. So I'm feeling like this is kind of like a one-off for him, where it's like he just kind of went with it. But if there's like a subgenre of bizarre ideas that are played straight, but if you just like look at it and say, if you like repeat it to somebody, how fucking funny is it? I was telling people, I was like, yeah, oh yeah, and he's a vampire, and he has crazy cat lady sisters who like live in the cats and like choose whether or not to be autistic, and oh yeah, the one person who actually understands what's going on in here is a little Down syndrome brother. What the fuck is going on here? Oh, and our villain is like a no dick double testes guy. Because, guys, I gotta shut it down. I've probably been talking for like an hour on this fucking book. I loved it. You'll probably hate it. I don't know. I think it takes a specific type of person to be able to read this and like enjoy it for being the straight novel that it's trying to be. It's a very serious private detective novel with weird supernatural bad guys and just absurd stuff going on, psychic powers and stuff. But man, what a time. I wish I could read it again for the first time. We should be bringing you some more stuff very soon. I think I got Rosemary's Baby coming up. We're going to be talking about the Slender Man for October. There's not really any specific project we're talking about on that one, just the idea, you know, so of the Slender Man. So that's going to be fun. Me, Chris, and Brandon are going to be doing that. I think my friend Michaela is going to come on, and we're going to do Rosemary's Baby, so that's going to be fun also. So yeah, we got more stuff coming your way, guys. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here and shut it down. I'm gonna read some more Dean Koontz shit, guys.
You got any Dean Koontz?
Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night.